What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing some insane battles in the Open Great League, running a triple Sneasel evolution team with Weavile in the lead. And yes, I am running Focus Blast, so do expect some huge booms in today's video. I've also got Hisuian Sneasel as the save swap and Sneasler as the closer. There are obviously going to be some holes in this team, but I was still able to pick up some incredible wins. So if you appreciate this level of spice, make sure you leave a like, and with that being said, let's get into the question of the day. What's your favorite Pokemon that has multiple different forms and where each form has a different typing, making it unique? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so going into the first battle, we lead into a Scrafty Nightmare lead for us. So gonna swap into my Sneasler, or my Sneasel, sorry, and the opponent does respond with a Jellicent, so completely hard walling me here. All of these moves are going to be resisted. X-Scissor doesn't even tickle the Jellicent. We're going to go for another X-Scissor, although they will start adding up over time, and we might actually get them into the yellow health. Yes, we do. The opponent finally going to throw a charge move, and they go for a Bubble Beam. So not running Surf, that's good to know. It means that after this matchup, Weavile doesn't really need to shield anything, and we can go for a full Snarl farm down. The opponent does go for one final Bubble Beam to take out the Sneasel, and now I can come in with the Weavile, get a full farm down. They will make it to multiple Bubble Beams, but even debuffed, this Focus Blast will still do massive damage if the Scrafty does come back in. So I'll let the second Bubble Beam go through, and we do now have the Focus Blast loaded. Gonna full send it, even double debuffed. Focus Blast one-shots the Scrafty. They come in with a Fire Spin, Shadow Alola Marowak, and at this point we can safely double shield and commit to a full Shadow Claw farm down. No point in throwing any of the energy here because it will just waste an opportunity for me to throw more fast moves. We showed up the second move there, and we are barely able to get the Shadow Claw farm down and take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next battle, another awful lead. Gonna swap into Sneasel, and they come in with a Hypno, Shadow Hypno. So you might be wondering, wow, this is pretty hard counter city here. That's the algorithm, it must be. But no, this is actually a team I saw on Jamie Finn's channel just a few days ago. And the funny thing is that this isn't even the same trainer. Someone saw that video and was like, that seems like a pretty good idea to run that team. As we shield up the Focus Blast, massive shield there. Gonna go for an Avalanche. I will be able to make it to another Avalanche. Gonna throw it straight away, and this should grab the final shield from the opponent. And I already know they're gonna run a shiny Shadow Venomoth in the back, so I will shield this up. It's very unlikely that they run Confusion or Psychic on that Venomoth, and so they come in here, and we should be able to resist all of the charge moves and the fast move as well. And they go for a Poison Fang, gonna debuff my defense, but that's fine. Gonna go for an X-Scissor, this is also resisted, but with the Shadow Claw damage, a second one will take them out. I go for a CMP tie, they don't throw straight away, so that's fine. X-Scissor takes them out. I'm one Shadow Claw away from the close combat, and this will easily be enough to take out the Hitmonchan, and we take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next battle, we see Medicham in the lead. Weavile just cannot catch a break at the moment. Is there anything other than counter leads in the Open Great League right now? We're going to swap into Sneasel, and we're met with a Galarian Stunfisk. Going to full send the close combat on a CMP tie with the Earthquake. They do shield it. No shield animation, but they definitely did shield it. Close combat doesn't do 0 damage up against a Steel type. We're going to go for a second one here as they did bait with a Rock Slide. We grab both shields, which is actually massive because close combat wouldn't quite take them out, and the Poison Jabs literally did 1 damage each, so we wouldn't get a farm down either. I'm now going to let the Rock Slide go through, gonna go farming for the Avalanche. The opponent swaps into Medicham. I'm not quick enough to swap out, and you have to be lightning quick when you're running Weavile because basically 2 counters will just completely annihilate you. We do end up shielding the Psychic, so that's great. I'm going to overfarm massively as I'm expecting a double Steel backline with this Medicham. We now go for the X-Scissor, knowing this won't quite take them out, so I'll get even more farm up against the Medicham. We have nearly 2 close combats loaded already, and the opponent's going to come in with the Registeel. We go straight for close combat number 1. This will do massive damage, put them into Shadow Claw farm down range, but they swap out, and they did have that Rock Slide loaded, and now we've debuffed our defense. Rock Slide takes us out, and we do unfortunately lose that game, so very well played by that opponent. Into the next battle, we see Swampert in the lead, and now I'm going to do something that I always have a go at other people for doing, which is throwing on alignment, but I need to get this Avalanche off before they throw their energy, and the opponent lets it it go through, so now I need to preserve the health on my Weavile. It could be Swampert, double flyer in the back, so I'm going to swap into Sneasel and try and bait out the flyer. But they've actually got Sableye in the back. We barely make it to a close combat in time, and even though it's resisted, it does about half of Sableye's health, so that's great. And now I can come back in with my Weavile, make it to an avalanche on the CMP tire with a potential return, and this will grab a shield from the opponent. At this point, I kind of have to call the bait or just let this move go through. It is the return. It does big damage. It takes me out. I can come in with my Sneasler, and I will go straight for an X-Scissor. I'm actually thinking now that they might have an Umbreon in the back based on this team comp so far. But they're actually running Talonflame, so this is going to be really, really difficult. But then they go and swap and catch the move, or try to catch the move. But I was never going to throw on alignment there. It's very easy to not have your move caught up against a 5-turn fast move like Incinerate. They go for a Flame Charge. I have to go for 4 Shadow Claws, maximizing the fast move damage there before going for a resisted close combat. And it's enough damage, even resisted, to take out the Talonflame there, and we take that game. Into the next battle, yet another awful lead for the Weavile. We just can't catch a break at the moment. We're going to swap into Sneasler this time around because the Hisuian Sneasel would be better as it does have Poison Jab, and you don't really want to swap in your hardest counter, as when that does get eliminated, you're going to struggle massively. But they come in with Drapion, catching the close combat. We are able to get to an X-Scissor in time. I expect a shield, but they don't shield. They let it go down, and now we have flip switch advantage, which is massive as I can Poison Jab, farm them all the way down. But the reason they did that is because they had Medicham in the back. There was nowhere to go for my Weavile except sacrificing it for this Ice Punch. Ice Punch doesn't do much damage, but the counters absolutely deleting the Weavile there. But we still have a chance. We have basically 100 energy. We go for an X-Scissor, grab a shield, and at this point, we might be able to do this, but X-Scissor is a pretty awful non-stab move. I'm hoping to grab the shield here and then full send a close combat, as it will still do more damage than the X-Scissor. We go for it here, and close combat is enough to take out the Medicham, and we take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next battle, we actually see a good lead. Cresselia, that's great for us. And they're going to swap into a Wall Rain, and they don't even full send the Earthquake here. This is the easiest no shield in my life. Icicle Spear, I mean, it still does about half our health. With the Powder Snow damage, that's insane. But we go for the Focus Blast. We one-shot the Wall Rain. I'm expecting them to come in with their hard counter now. So I'm instantly going to swap into Sneasel, but they didn't. They came back in with Cresselia, and that's a massive mistake on my end. So I'm going to go for the X-Scissor. This will do some nice chip damage, and at this point I just have to let this go down, or they might go for a grass knot bait, and they do actually go for the bait there. I'm going to make it to another X-Scissor in time. An X-Scissor will put them into range where I can farm them down. Not quite though. They do get the Psycho Cut farm down, and they've baited once. I don't expect them to bait again, so I'm going to come in with my Sneasler, and I will shield this up. It is the Moonblast, so good shield. And they come in with Galarian Stunfisk. I'm going to try and swap and catch the Earthquake onto my Weavile. A great catch there. And they did full send the Earthquake. But the problem is, if I go for close combat here, I'm going to debuff my defense, and then they might just fully Mudshot farm me down. So I go for the bait. The opponent, huge balls on this opponent as they call the bait, and that's game over for me. And now full send the close combat. It's game over. Well played to that opponent. We had the perfect lead that time around, and we ended up losing because the opponent just considerably outplayed me. But into the next battle, a pretty good lead I think that was, and the opponent's going to come in with a Shadow Alolan Ninetales. We go for the X-Scissor, we grab a shield, and I'm still able to get the Poison Jab farm down. I tried to go for a close combat there. We didn't actually have the energy, which is unfortunate. Maybe X-Scissor would have got the shield, not really sure, but I'm going to come in with my Sneasler here, and we got absolutely destroyed by the Stunfisk last time as we baited. So this time I full send the close combat. We one-shot the Stunfisk, and at this point it should be game over. They are running Hex on their Alolan Marowak instead. So now I come in with my Weavile here. We've got a shield advantage. I don't expect them to run Flame Wheel. This is certainly not enough for a Fire Blast. So I let the Bone Club go through. I'll shield the second one and we should be fine. They go for the Bone Club. We start lagging. I'm like, oh no, please tell me the Wi-Fi isn't screwing up. But no, I think the opponent did just force quit the app there. I think it is them lagging and not myself. We go for the Avalanche, and resisted damage still takes out the Alolan Marowak, and we take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next battle, we see Azumarill in the lead, so going to swap into Sneasler, knowing that it is the soft counter to Azu. I think probably all 3 Pokemon do technically lose to Azumarill, but with the poison jab damage, Sneasel isn't so bad. Unfortunately, we don't quite make it to back-to-back close combats, so this Altaria will be able to just let that go through, which is really unfortunate, as Snarl farming down an Altaria is not an easy task. So yeah, it doesn't matter that we're an Ice type, we're not going to be able to win this matchup here. I let this move go through, the opponent throws just before we make it to the Avalanche, very good timing. I'm just going to let this go through. I have to put it all on my Hisuian Sneasel and hope that we can still somehow win this game. So they come back in with Azumarill. I mean, this is quite good because I do get off the poison jab damage, and then I have a ton of energy loaded for whatever could be in the back. We go for an X-Scissor here. It's going to do absolutely nothing to this Azu, but if we throw a second X-Scissor on the CMP tie, I think they're in range now where this will take them out, and we do grab a shield from the Azumarill, so that's good. Gonna shield up the Ice Beam, and they have Galarian Stunfisk in the back, so here I'm gonna go for the bait. We are now in Rockside range, so gonna go for the bait. We grab the shield, we get to the close combat in time, and how much damage does it do to Stunfisk? Not quite enough damage, unfortunately, and we will now go down to the Rockside here and lose that game. So GG's to that opponent. Azumarill just a little bit too tricky to deal with when running this team. But into the next battle, we see a Swampert in the lead. Am I going to throw on alignment again? No, because the opponent does throw straight away. So I will shield up the Hydro Cannon. And once again, I really just hope they let the Avalanche go through, as if they do start shielding in this lead matchup, then it's very tricky. But they do let it go through, so that's great. Gonna swap into Sneasel. This isn't an Earthquake, so I will tank it. We also get the Poison Jab farm down, and they come in with Medicham, so I'm just going to go for the close combat, and even though it is resisted, it will actually grab a shield from the opponent, so that's absolutely fine with me. And now I'm going to come in with my Hisuian Sneasler, and we should be able to shield this up. Hopefully they go full sending the Psychic, and they do, and they actually get the debuff in my defense, which is not ideal. We're going to throw here, they're at 6 counters, so they should be 2 away from the next charge move. We go for the X-Scissor, they're now at, 1 away, sorry, and now we're going to swap, and we catch the Psychic, get the Snarl through, and this will take out the Medicham with that Snarl, and now they have Bastiodon in the back. We barely make it to the Focus Blast in time, and this will be one-shotting the Bastiodon, and we take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next battle, we see Lantern in the lead. Gonna swap, actually no, not swapping straight away. Eventually gonna swap into my Hisuian Sneasel, and the opponent gonna go for a charge move. We will live everything unless they run Hydro Pump, but they're not running it. We do barely live that, and they were 1 away from a Surf. So I do throw it on the CMP tie. Close combat does connect, it does massive damage, but I can't really afford to shield here. My one positive is that they didn't swap out, so they might not have a good response to my Sneasler. So I'm going to come in with it now, and I get the farm down. The opponent is going to be coming in with a Noctowl, so they did have a good answer to fighting types, which is unfortunate, but we're running Focus Blast. Is the opponent going to respect the damage here from a Focus Blast? Oh, unfortunately they do, and that is, yeah, that's not fun. What's wrong with this opponent? We're going to shield up the rock side, and now we will bait here. I think like the best case scenario is that we somehow come out of this matchup and then swap into Sneasler straight away, go for a Focus Blast and take them out, and still have an Avalanche loaded, but the switch clock is not up yet, so we have to full send the Focus Blast. It will be enough damage to take out the Galarian Stunfisk. We have to swap, try and catch a move, but the opponent doesn't throw straight away, and that slight overfarm will allow this opponent to get to back-to-back charge moves here. They go for the Sky Attack, it takes out Sneasler, and can we get there in time? No, not quite in time, and this Sky Attack will easily take out the Weavile, and we do unfortunately lose that game. So GG's and well played to that opponent. Into the next game, another Lantern in the lead. This time they're running Water Gun, so I'm going to bank an Avalanche and then swap into my Hisuian Sneasel. And once again, we will live this time just a Surf, so we do live that quite comfortably. They now swap into the Noctowl, so the plan is working. We do bait out the Flying type, and this close combat will do big damage to the Noctowl, although it doesn't really matter because we won't be able to Snarl farm them down. So I'm still going to have to send an Avalanche, so I will send it straight away, hopefully just taking out the Noctowl as soon as possible, which we do. And now they're going to come back in with the Lantern. I have to shield this up, and unfortunately I don't think there's any point in me full sending the Focus Blast here, so I go for an Avalanche instead. This wouldn't take them out, but it does grab the shield. We barely make it to another Avalanche in time. This Avalanche will go unshielded, but it still does big damage, and now it all just depends what they've got in the back. They go for a Surf, they swap into Umbreon, and now this might actually look possible here. It's still going to be very close. They will actually live a close combat, and Shadow Claws are resisted, so it's still going to be so tight. We go for the close combat. It does big damage. They let it go through, and now we can just go straight X-Scissor, but I think they're one away from a foul play, but they don't throw their move. Maybe they're running Dark Pulse, so we get to the X-Scissor, taking out the Umbreon, but then they're able to Water Gun farm us down, but then I'm able to Snarl farm down the Lantern, and you know the one-turn inconsistencies that I've complained about? That actually happened to my opponent there. We should have simultaneously KO'd, but their final Water Gun damage didn't register for some reason, so I'm able to take that win. Now, leading into a Quagsire, I'm going to full send the Focus Blast here. It connects and it nearly one-shots them, even though it's only neutral, non-stab damage. They go for a Stone Edge, and the opponent's swapping into Noctowl. Oh my gosh, this opponent is in shambles right now. We're going for the Avalanche, and they no-shield it. Oh my gosh, that nearly takes them out. Opponent, what are you doing? We're going to shield the Sky Attack, and I should be able to Snarl, farm them down, come out with a ton of energy. And they are going to come in with a Frostlass, so that's why they did swap out there and come in with the Noctowl. They weren't sure if I was running Foul Play or Avalanche. They now know it is Avalanche, so they do correctly no-shield it. But at this point, we should be able to take this game. Gonna swap into Sneasel, just get that shield very nice and early. The opponent's gonna overfarm here. It makes it a little bit tricky, but I should be able to come in with the Weavile. I don't think they'll be able to commit to a full Powder Snow farm down, so they're going to have to throw their energy, and they do throw it, but now they're in range where I can easily Shadow Claw, farm them down with my Sneasler. We get the farm down, and then 2 more Shadow Claws, takes out the Quagsire, and we take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next battle, we see Galarian Weezing in the lead, very tricky lead. Gonna swap into my Hisuian Sneasel, and the opponent is gonna stay in. They do have enough energy for an overheat, and they full send it, so we do correctly shield that. They now come in with a shiny Mew. Maybe they're running Blizzard, who knows. We go for the X-Scissor, grabbing a shield, and we will make it to another X-Scissor. This won't take them out, but it will do some nice damage to the Mew, and it will force them to throw their energy. So I will let this go through. It is a Surf. It does take us out. We now come in with the Weavile, and I'm happy to commit a shield here to come out with a ton of loaded energy. And they go for the Wild Charge, debuffing their defense, so we don't get as big a farm down, which is unfortunate. But they come back in with their Galarian Weezing. We go for an Avalanche, and we should be able to make it to another Avalanche before they get to the overheat. But they swap, and they catch it onto Registeel, and that's absolutely massive for this opponent. So now you guys know that if they're going to swap and catch a move, then I'm gonna have to do the same, and we swap, and hopefully we caught the Focus Blast. We did catch it, it's resisted, and now I will be able to go for the close combat. This will be enough damage to take out the Registeel, and even if they farm me down with Galarian Weezing, it doesn't matter, because my Weavile will easily win CMP. They do actually end up throwing their energy anyway, but it does not matter. We have the Avalanche loaded. Avalanche takes out the Weezing, and we take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next battle, we see Medicham in the lead, and it's been a while since we saw a counter Medicham in the lead, or any sort of counter user, so we swap out. The opponent comes in with a load of Ninetales. They are core broken by the Sneasel, and well, I mean, I say core broken like Sneasel actually beats Medicham. It typically doesn't, but we're going to go for another X-Scissor here. Could have gone for the close combat. The opponent actually lets it go through, but I still get the Poison Jab farm down. That's amazing. We flip switch and grab a shield advantage, so now Sneasler should be able to just fully Shadow Claw, farm down this Medicham, and shielding twice in this matchup, because I'm expecting them to have some sort of Steel type in the back. So I'm going to shield the second move here. It is an ice punch. I will be able to get the full farm down, and they have got a Bastiodon in the back, so I go for the close combat straight away. I'm actually not certain a close combat does take them out from full health, so I actually come in with the Weavile here and go for an avalanche just before, so that will guarantee they're in range where a close combat will be enough to take them out. Turns out I could have actually just full sent the focus blast here, but I was taking no risks. They are definitely in close combat range now. We go for it up against the Bastiodon, and it does take them out there, and we take that game. So GG's to that opponent there, and into the final battle of the video, we see Altaria in the lead. This should be good. We're an ice type up against Altaria, but they will be able to just double shield and fully farm us down, so that does make it very uncomfortable. So I'm going to shield the first move, and I will go for the avalanche straight away as soon as I get there, I believe. And yes, we do throw straight away, and now I have to swap out. There's no point letting them farm me down, so I'm going to swap into my Sneasel, and the opponent does respond with a Medicham, so I'm going to go for a close combat here. Probably should have thrown on CMP, but I thought we were slightly misaligned, so throwing one turn early there, and we go for an X-Scissor here, and I actually don't want to take them out, so I'm going to undercharge it, meaning I can get a small energy advantage on my Sneasler, because I don't really want that Altaria to get any more farm than they've already got, because it's already going to be a very difficult task to take them out. We come in with the Sneasler, they come in with the Altaria, and we're going to shield this up. They do go for the Sky Attack, and then they swap into Registeel. So I'm going to farm to back-to-back close combats, go for the first one here, and then I'm going to have to swap out because I need to clear the debuff here. So I come in with Weavile, and they do get a nice farm there. This is going to be incredibly close. Do we get to the back-to-back charge moves in time? We go for close combat, and we are one turn away from getting off the X-Scissor there, but they are at a Sky Attack. It takes me out, and we do unfortunately lose that final game. So that's going to be it for today's video. I had so much fun running this team, and if you did enjoy the battles, then make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day. And as for my answer, I'm going to have to go with Zapdos. Both Shadow Zapdos and Galarian Zapdos are so fun to run, and I wish you could run them both in the same team, but unfortunately, that is never going to happen. But if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.